Hello everyone, and today we have another storybook review. This time it is a very rare 112 page storybook of Sleeping Beauty in the German edition, because I'm from German. So it is very old, how you see, in the pretty bad condition, but still I am very proud to have this rare book because you really don't get it anymore. It is really rare, and I'm very proud to have this because I always love to have 112 page storybooks, which are very rare in general. So yeah, here it is, and now I will show you all the illustrations. If you want to read the story, please pause the video. And otherwise, let's get started. I just will show you the illustrations and comment a little about it. So yeah, here is the beginning. With all the guests that come to celebrate the birth of Aurora. Here are the good fairies with the great and bright colors. I also always love the colors of these books, even though the new illustrations of course are a lot better because they have more lighting and everything and more atmosphere, but still I like these colors. Here the first gift with beauty, then the second one with music and a beautiful singing voice, and then there comes Maleficent. Don't wonder what this is. That was when my sister in the past wanted to make me angry at some one time. Old times, but well, still you see the illustration in general and it is still nice. Even though I think this is definitely not one of my favorite illustrations from this scene. I think there are other illustrations from this scene that just look a bit better, but well, it is still nice. And I like this frame from Maleficent. How she looks there is pretty close to the movie, I think. And in general, I love the movie very much. I also think that from the animation and from the art design, it is the most beautiful Disney movie ever created. That is just so beautiful, and therefore I also think it is very nice to have a storybook from this beautiful movie. And therefore also it is nice that we now have with newer illustrations, that I still have to buy the storybook, but as soon as I have it I will post a video of it. And yes, but still also these old ones look still pretty nice. Here's the fire. Here the fairies are discussing their plan. And here they disappear. This is one of my favorite illustrations from this book because I love that they show such a rare illustrations from the castle from Maleficent. Because I think this looks really nice and you just get much more into the atmosphere if first you see this picture of their really frightening castle. I love it. Here you see grown Aurora. I think this is also an illustration that isn't in the classic storybook with 96 pages. I also like it to see the fairies here in their other clothes, how they are discussing about the present for Aurora, then sending her away. colors are really beautiful. Of course in the video you can't see it that perfect how colorful it is, but it really looks nice. And this is one of my favorite illustrations, how she is just there at the river. I also love the color of the purple and the yellow and all the green and the wood. It just looks very it has just a very warm and nice atmosphere, I think. Then the prince comes, hears her singing voice. Here he falls, cause the horse was too fast. I actually think this picture here looks more like in the movie than from the new illustrations, but that is just something like an exception for me. Then they steal it. To disguise it like a dream prince of her. Then of course the real one sees it. And then the real one comes. Then they are dancing. And I like that in the new storybook they have more the dancing scene from the actual movie scene, that it is more like this atmosphere, and here it is just a little, it is not really like like how it is in the movie from the illustration from the picture, but well, it is still nice, of course. This is very funny. I love the fairies the most. Tell me in the comments what you love most about Sleeping Beauty from the characters, but I like these fairies and of course Maleficent the most. I think these are actually the main characters. They are so funny, but also they have such great characters that you just have to love them. Here with the raven when he sees it, but I think he really misses something. This is too empty, but well, that was in these older books, and therefore I like with the new illustrations that it is a little more detailed and also a little more magical, but still these illustrations are also nice. Hope you can see it good. I don't have the best quality, but I hope it is enough. So this illustration, I have seen that this is also not in the classic storybook, and I really miss this scene in nearly every Sleeping Beauty storybook with all the new illustrations. I don't have ever seen one of the new illustrations from this scene, but also in other Sleeping Beauty books you rarely find this scene illustrated. Therefore I think it is really something special that here you have at least one illustration from this scene, because now he is also missing the scene when Prince Philip arrives. I don't know why even in a 112-page storybook there's still this scene missing. I don't know why, but well. So even this book sadly isn't completely satisfying, but it is the closest one to satisfy, of course, from the amount of illustrations. Here she follows the light and pricks her finger at the spinning wheel. And this is one of my favorite illustrations, just like how the pose of Maleficent is, how she just triumphal shows that Aurora now lies down like she's dead. This is actually a very dramatic picture, but of course in the new storybook it is a little more dramatic, but I think there the facial expression of Maleficent is a little bit wrong. I think this is more movie accurate how she looks here, therefore I like this illustration maybe even more. Then they put all down asleep. Then he arrives at the cottage knowing nothing but what he has to expect, and then he gets captured, of course. And then they are in the dungeon. Actually, there also is an illustration missing, like when the fairies arrive at the Forbidden Mountain and the evil ones are celebrating, but well, there's always something missing, isn't it? Here they free him, and then the battle starts. I like that at least this book is so satisfying that that it has all illustrations that you could have from the battle. So that is really, you could say, complete, because I haven't seen any other illustration that isn't in here, like from this battle scene. Here, first it begins when the raven sees them, then all the arrows, and they are transformed into flowers from the fairies. Then here you have the thorn bushes, and then you have most pages from the dragon fight. That is awesome. I mean, I love this dragon. I love Maleficent most from her design when she's a dragon. It is just awesome. And this is also one of my favorite illustrations that is also not in the classic storybook. Just because it is very movie-like when he climbs up and she also gets up, and there's all around there is fire, and I just like, therefore, this illustration very much. So, and then here is the final with the sword. And then, yes, he kills Maleficent. But here are also, like in the new illustration book, that they get a new perspective, more like in the movie, and also that the dragon even seems a little bit bigger. But well, then he comes to the Sleeping Beauty, wakes her up. Also, he wakes them up. Then they come, celebrating, and well, then they are happily ever after. So that was it. Here are the details, of course in German, from Egmont Verlag. Yes, and from there I have it. So this is a very rare book, and I'm very proud to have it. Please tell me in the comments how you like this storybook. And also tell me what are your favorite illustrations from this book. And well, and then there is a little surprise, because I have another storybook from Sleeping Beauty that is also worth watching in. It is thinner, but therefore there are some illustrations that are not in this book. And also it has a different art style, so I think it might be interesting for you. Well, this is the cover. Also Schneider Verlag. Here is the back. And so, let's begin. Here are some details. Well, and now you see the different art style. But I think this art style is really interesting. It has something new. Yes. Here, with the fairies. And here, for example, I like this entrance scene from Maleficent. Kind of more, just like how the pose, how the flames are there. Of course, in the new illustration book, this is the best version of this entrance, but I still like this very much. And also this little picture where she makes the curse. Then we have here the fairies drinking tea. Also a very rare picture, because you nearly see the picture when they actually drinking tea, more like when they already are in the plan. Here how she helps the baby. Here when she wants the magic wands of them. Here where they are leaving. I mean, this illustration I think is better in the classic storybook than the new ones, but still, some other illustrations are very interesting. Here you have Maleficent being angry. Here you have her in the woods. Here she's dancing with the disguised prince, but then the real one comes. I mean, these illustrations are not that interesting, but later on, for example, here you have more illustrations exactly from the scenes, like this you don't have usually, but here you have it, and this how they make it apart so that you have more illustrations from the whole scene. Even though, of course, they are not as beautiful as the classic storybook or the newer illustrations. But still, I also think that this picture with the raven is looks better than from the classic storybook or the new ones, actually, I think. Because here you have more details, more like the house and everything. And there she's crying. You also don't have this illustration in any of the other storybooks, I think. So that is also pretty rare. And now we come to this. Here, this scene that is very rare is in it. And the most rare thing about this book is, I think, this. How Prince Philip actually arrives and then goes again, but that they actually have these illustrations is very rare, I think, because I haven't seen these illustrations in any other classic storybook of Sleeping Beauty or from the new storybooks. I never have seen this scene, so I think it is very rare that we have it in this book. So therefore I also like this book very much for having these rare scenes. Here where she's crying. And this is, I think, one of the best pictures in it, because here you have more, it is shining, it is creepy. This picture is actually really creepy, just seeing the shadow of Maleficent. I think this is one of the best illustrations from this scene, in general. Tell me in the comments what you think about it. And then here we have it, also pretty dark. And then this has also a little bit more atmosphere actually, and also has nearly the same facial expression than from the classic storybook. Yeah, and here how she wakes up is also pretty rare. I don't see this picture often. Here have we worried Hubert, and here I also like how they make this, like you only see the shadow of Maleficent, also I think more like in the movie. Then we have of course this scene. And this scene, which I also talked about how they are celebrating, that they use one picture of the celebrating here, I think is also very rare and very nice. And here the fighting scene is also pretty rare, that they show a picture where they actually fight with the swords against them at the beginning. As well as this scene, also more like in the movie when really there's this perspective of it. And then here it is very short, and there the classic storybook is better, the 112 pages. But still, this is also nicely made, I think. Even though it is not one of the best illustrations from the scene. Also, this has a nice atmosphere, as well as this. Then we come to the end already. Here they are happily ever after. So, that was it. This was my review of 2 Sleeping Beauty storybooks in German version. I hope you like this video. Please tell me in the comments what you think about these storybooks, which storybooks do you have, and what are your favorite illustrations, how did you like my review, and so on. Tell me something in the comments. I would like to write with you, and yes, then I just would say till the next video, and bye.